as they arch that back for a deeper sounding or final dive. Now all these whales belong to an order we call Cetacea. Cetacea is a collective term and includes all the world's whales, porpoises, and dolphins. But there are two groups of whales. There are whales that have teeth, they're called odontocetes, and that would include your sperm whale, your orca whales, your dolphins, your porpoises. They all have teeth to help them feed. But the whales you're most likely to encounter out here with us this afternoon, finback, humpback, minke whales, they don't have teeth. They belong to the other group called Mysticete. The Greeks call them that because it means mustached whales, because they have this inside their mouth instead of teeth. And there is a baleen plate on the chart table in the inside cabin for those of you who are not up top here where I'm talking. This is a single baleen plate. They have anywhere from 800 or 900 of these and hang down from the upper jaw only. They're stacked tightly, one right after the other, all along that upper jaw. Although like Venetian blinds hang down. Now, of course, in order for the jaws to close properly, the plates in the front of the whale's jaws are relatively small, but they get increasingly longer as you get to the rear of the whale. The entire castle to the Roman Catholic Church, and for many years that castle was known as the Cardinal Cushing Villa. It was a retirement area for priests and nuns, but the Catholic Church found it too difficult to maintain, so they put up for auction, and it was inadvertently sold to Reverend Moon. And the Unification Church lived there for much of the 1990s, had a thriving tuna fleet called One Hope working out of the harbor, but now that castle there is a private residence. There's another castle though coming into view at 3 o'clock. This one is much more visible on the coastline. This is where the sun lived. So when you hear Hammond Castle, Hammond Museum, that's this castle at 3 o'clock. This is where the sun lived, John Hayes Hammond Jr. He was the famous inventor. He worked for the U.S. military. He had more than 800 inventions and 400 patents in his lifetime. His most famous invention was remote control, which he perfected right here in the harbor, definitely scaring local fishermen to see boats maneuvering out here with no one on board.
Passage, you have Cape Horn, which is the southern tip of South America, and on the other side of the Drake Passage, 600 miles to the south, you have the Antarctic Peninsula, which is really just an archipelago, a series of small rocky islands. And that's where essentially all of the Wilson storm petrels on the planet will nest, is in Antarctica. And they migrate up here during the austral winter. So when it's winter in the southern hemisphere, as it is now, the Wilson storm petrels will be found here in the northwest Atlantic, feeding in the same waters as some of the whales will be. And then when fall approaches in the northern hemisphere, they'll migrate all the way south to their breeding grounds. So they have one of the longest migrations of any animal on the planet. I'll point them out when they get a little bit closer, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the other birds too. That's a minke whale. We actually know it's a minke whale. It's missing its dorsal fin. It's a minke whale called Scar. But watch for it again over at about 3 o'clock or so. I'll just kind of shade in that direction. I'm not going to stop on it though. I'll tell you why in a minute here, but just I want to. So watch it about 2, 3 o'clock, a little ways away. Watch for Scar to come to the surface possibly. It's the lighting conditions just being just the way they are. Pretty much anything that breaks the water's surface is really readily visible. Maybe it's not going to come up again. But I don't want to stop here because, all right, here's the situation. We are very close to where I know there are 2 humpback whales. If you look over at about 9 o'clock now, 9, 10 o'clock, you see a large boat coming kind of in our direction. That's a whale watching boat. They're just leaving an area where they've been trying to watch 2 humpback whales. The key word there is trying. The 2 whales that they've been trying to watch .
A nice turn. You can see those long white side flippers. They look green in the water alongside this humpback whale. Follow where the whale is. Look for those side flippers. Really nice first encounter with a humpback whale here. Beautiful look, came right towards the boat. Nice blueprint still there at 10 o'clock, that smooth circular patch.
So folks, remember when I was, I just saw the other one up in front of us. Way out at 12 o'clock, I just saw the other one. But remember when I was saying yesterday that when we first got out here, we had a couple of humpback whales and they were doing the same thing that apparently they were doing for the other boat. That is, they were staying down 7-8 minutes, coming up a long way away from where they went down, and they were really difficult to get a good look at. But then I said one of the 2 whales, an adult male whale named Satchela, suddenly must have found a patch of food and started eating and coming up regularly after short dives in the same spot. And so he started to get really good looks. I'll keep my eye on that animal. Depending upon how Satchela is and how that whale looks, maybe we'll get a chance to visit with it also. All right, sorry, Michelle. I'll give you back the microphone.
So help us out, keep looking all around the boat. We have beautiful visibility, incredible sea state. Easily should see any whale break the surface or anything really. Nice calm sea state. Here are the bubbles, close to the boat at 3 o'clock. The remnants of the bubbles at Satchela, the name of this humpback whale. Satchela blew these bubbles that we're looking at right here. They're still coming up the water column. You can still see them rising up. Fantastic look at the bubble column there. And this humpback whale named Satchela is the one that created all those bubbles. Bubbles we believe corral and concentrate. do love to see that tail come high up out of the water with a humpback whale, and so often they do that because they are a stocky species.
That's okay.
Amazing. Really special encounter. The captain knows how we were just sitting there, and Satcha surfaced on his own just off the starboard side, came right towards the boat, parallel to us. Incredible looks. Definitely knows that we're here. Can hear our engines are leaving the harbor, but definitely not put off by that at all. Get ready.
Everyone's on this side, so
I knew we were going to get a nice high fluke up there. Really thrust the side flippers high up in the water. They look like wings, and that is how they got their Latin name, which is Megoptera noviangliae. Because we can see them in the water, we can really see the advantage they have for steering and mobility. No other whale has such long pectoral fins in relation to the rest of their body. And right before the sound dive, they really raise up those side flippers high up in the water column before heading deeper down. And interestingly enough, if you do get a chance to see humpback whales in the Caribbean, same white side flippers, but they look blue in the water because of the lack of plankton. They're a little different here. More like a bubble cloud than the curtain of bubbles that were coming up earlier. They can differentiate their bubble production, tailor making it to depending on the prey that they're taking in. But definitely feeding, which is what you're going to see the whales do primarily. They of course have to take periods of rest. They'll have to forage when necessary once the bait gets depleted in the area. We're not even sure how they find the bait. How do they know where the bait is the most productive? Do they have scouts? Do they use communication within their population to discover where the bait is? Can they hear it? Pearl has a really loud acoustic pickup, but sand eels are very quiet. But then they really rely on their hearing to locate their food. We're not really sure how they do it. first calves to ever be documented and identified, put in the catalog in the mid to late 70s. Those whales that we know today, and we see them. The bubble remnants are at 9 o'clock, just to show you that Satchel is still feeding. And she's right here at 11 o'clock. I'm sorry, he. Well, that brown in the water is exactly what you think it is. Look, the other humpback is coming in. We've got humpback whales off our port side now. Here's a smaller humpback we saw just briefly. Still at the surface, coming in. Watch around 9 o'clock. Coming up. See the pale green? Much smaller than Satchel, but it's a second humpback. And it has a dorsal fin with a unique scarring. More orca teeth marks. More orca teeth marks on the new addition here. Our second humpback whale off our port side. Boy, those orcas, they are definitely a force to fear. They leave their teeth marks all along the great whales. We call them rake marks because they're parallel lines. They're white if they're on the black pigmentation of the whale, or they're black if they're on the white. But they make these parallel lines. So will these...
On our, I'll keep it on the starboard for now. Let's see though. Now, being a fish, this animal doesn't need to come to the surface to breathe. So if it goes down, it'll disappear and it doesn't need to come back up. So, line up on the starboard side, spread out all along the starboard side. Please let the kids in front, because we may only get one shot at this. Like I say, if it goes down, it may not come back up. So hopefully everyone's seen it up to this point. All right, let's see where he comes up. He may go underneath us. I'm not sure if this is Scar or not. But this is always a fun sighting. It's actually one of the things I was hoping to find when we went on a ride after we get our last couple looks at whales here. I was actually hoping either to find another whale or find something cool like a basking shark. So we'll wait here just a little bit, see if the shark comes up again, and try and get another look at it. I'll let Michelle tell you a little bit more about basking sharks. But just to finish what I was going to say about the whales, it's nice that we get to watch the whales in their natural habitat and natural behavior too.
Bit of a distance. Happy to see the birds out there as well. We've had some storm petrels. We had both the great and the sooty shearwaters. And while I was talking to a passenger on the upper deck on the way back in, we saw a couple of juvenile northern gants as well. So great for bird watching. I think the humpback we enjoyed the most was Satchela. Satchela, a male humpback, full grown, first seen in 1981. Looks like over 40 feet though, so big for a male. Males aren't as big as the females. Definitely doing some feeding. We could see the bubbles. Saw the bubbles climbing up the water column. Lots of remnants of bubbles once Satchela would surface. So great to see Satchela actually utilizing some of the bait that is really thick on Jeffrey's Ledge right now. Also to see a younger, smaller humpback whale, a juvenile, maybe only 3 or 4 years old. We have not seen that whale before, and that's always exciting to see a whale in the area and learn a new whale. So we'll hopefully get to know more about that whale further into the season. And then we did see 50, as we like to call him, another male that we saw out there that is typically seen on Jeffrey's Ledge.